I talked to him in Orlando. He had difficulty speaking. He wasn't totally clear in his mind. He had some neurological things that he was battling, and he didn't look anything like this. He's a completely different person.
I told myself so many times I'll be on this stage, so give me a second, I'm just going to wave to myself in my meditations. Months gone by.
Oh, see, now, we already have something in common because I have a soul camera. You know a soul camera? You know, like at the end of your life, you're going to do what? You're going to get the whole thing played back. So in my moments, sometimes I go like this. I look into the soul camera like, are you getting this? You're having your soul camera moment.
Yeah. And I guess a quick word to my past self. Sorry, I put a bit of weight on. I'll get back to that. So in January 2022, which was last year, which seems years ago, I'm sure you can admit that, I got diagnosed with a clinically terminal grade 4, forget the name of it because I don't focus on it, diffuse midline glioma, brain tumor, which rocked my world a little bit. It scared me.
How old are you?
At the time, I was 24. I'm now 26. Yeah. And yeah, I was scared. I was living quite the life. I'm very fortunate that I travel with work. I work in professional sport. I'm not a professional sportsman. I work with technology. It's fantastic. And I stopped working, obviously, because of my terminal brain tumor I got given. Went through chemo and radiotherapy. My dad, who was my hero, and my mother, both my heroes, they were trying everything. Yeah, community is so key. It's so key. Obviously, finding Joe was also pretty special. And he was trying to find everything. I was going through chemo and radio because they never gave me a chance. They said maybe a year, maybe 2 years. You look on Google, it's like 5 months. And I remember seeing that about 5 months in, and I was like, anyway. So yeah, chemo and radio, going through that, and through a very amazing charity, we got doing intravenous vitamin C, and the doctor there, an absolutely beautiful angel of mine, she just recommends Joe's work, which is fantastic. Yeah. And she says, my friend here cured her blindness on Brighton Beach, felt a piece of beef being scrunched up and pulled out. And I was like, bullshit. And that's where community is key, because I remember getting in the car after that and Dad going, I feel like we've come across something here. And I was just sat there, sort of dying still from chemo. And I was like, whatever. And my dad, who's also got testimonies of himself, shrunk his prostate to a normal size, my hero, as I've said already. And slowly but surely I got into it more and more. Still didn't enjoy doing it, but because of the terminal prognosis, I had to do it. So that's why I'm so grateful for how bad it was, honestly. And then came to London. Again, still wasn't enjoying sitting with myself for an hour. I didn't feel the benefits all that much, but slowly what that retreat did was it made me enjoy doing it. I got back and was doing it twice a day, and I just loved it, to the point where at some points I was meditating for 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours. But that was a very short period. But that was, I think, the best thing that can happen sometimes is loving the work, feeling the benefits, and just being like, there's nothing better to do than sitting there doing it. Because I knew through the testimonies and everything, at that point I knew I was going to be okay. Then I went to Orlando, and bearing in mind I'm still on chemo at this point, just before Orlando, they took me off of it because there was growth in the tumor. And I'm sure Joe remembers I was in the youth group, which I'm very grateful for. Riley, thank you for that. I don't know where you are, but you're a hero. Riley enables us to ask Joe questions. And I said to Joe, I was like, I know I'm going to be okay just because of what I know and what I see and how I feel, but my scans aren't showing that. What should I do? And Joe says, just keep going. It's like I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was to the words of, the last battle is so important. And I just felt that. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm just going to carry on doing it. I was never going to stop because I felt incredible. It was just unfortunately not coming through in the scans, which is quite key, especially, this is slightly left. It's not conventional, is it? Especially in England, where unfortunately this isn't very well known. Across the world, unfortunately, this isn't common knowledge yet, which is where I want to get it to. I think it needs to be there because this is just incredible. And in Orlando, I was a healee, which was a fantastic experience. Nothing crazy happened. I didn't shout crazily, which I kind of wish I did because it looks crazy. You hear it and you're like, wow, I wish that was me straight away, unfortunately.
Wait a second. I want to be very clear that there have been numerous people that have never had any experience of any big energy. When they opened their eyes, their hearing came back, they had changed. It doesn't have to be the fireworks experience. You can have all variations of it. Now, all I'm saying is sometimes when energy has to move through a person's body and there's a blockage or there's interference, there could be a lot of convulsing or moving. But you don't have to have any of that. We've had numerous people that had anything really big, but when they came out of it, there was some type of change.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I mean, a testament to that is, well, obviously me now, but at the end of the week, I was looking around as you are sat down, and because of where the tumor was, where I had surgery as well, not to cut it out because they can't cut it out, but to poke a hole. It's a different story to basically allow synovial fluid to flow around. But my vision was I had really bad double vision in my peripherals. I could only see one Joe there, but that's all we need anyway. But at the end of that week, I was looking around. I was going, crikey, I can only see one of everyone. I can only see one Fernando there. And I remember telling my dad, I was like, I think my eyesight's fixed. And I was like, I think I'm fixed. I think I'm sweet. And then synchronicity. I have, in my opinion, my favorite synchronicity. I've had many cool ones, but this is my favorite. At the end of Orlando, leaving the monastery, and Dad joined it. First thing he saw, and at this point I hadn't seen a grade 4 brain tumor go without chemo, which for me, in an analytical mindset, I was looking all the time. I was like, okay, they got rid of it, but they're on chemo. It might have been a really lucky case, and that's what my doctor still thinks, but whatever. And which is silly because I haven't been on chemo since last September. Anyway, I haven't seen a very similar case like mine, but the first thing my dad saw, he joined the group, an Australian man, I forget his name, legend, grade 4 brain tumor, 2 scans in a row that shown growth, which was me at that point, got taken off chemo, same as me, happy too because he knew he was going to be okay because he does the work, same as me. The only difference was I hadn't had my 3rd scan. And what do you reckon his 3rd scan was? Nothing there.
Beautiful. Now, I want you to listen closely. People change people. It is not uncommon to doubt in a possibility. It's very common. He runs into the woman who I showed you, her heart moving into coherence before her blindness was restored. The same doctor that referred that person to come to my event in Brighton is his same doctor. She refers Lorna, the woman who healed herself of the stroke, complete recovery of vision, and he's like, huh. Then his dad, with prostatic hypertrophy and all kinds of health conditions, does the work, and guess what happens? All healed. He's healed. Now that's his hero, right? So now he's got 2. He starts doing the work. He doesn't feel anything. Does he quit? Why? Because nothing else is working. The chemo's making his tumor grow. All right, so now he's got to believe in himself, and so now he comes to the week long, and now he's been going down the slopes long enough that skiing is actually fun. It's not a trauma.
Ironic, because skiing is traumatic for me, but no worries. Sorry, Hannah.
And so then what? He runs into another testimonial that really causes him to, somebody in Australia with the same condition. Some guy, right? He tells a story of the same condition, that the scans was getting worse, the whole bit. He does the work, and it's better. And what do you think happens to him? Oh, of course. This is exactly what I need to hear. This is exactly the opportunity that's right for me. This is the opportunity that's right for me to believe that it could actually happen to me. And so many people stand on the stage and they say, oh, I always thought it would, I always kind of believed in this. I believed it worked. I just didn't believe it would work for me. Oh, that's a big moment for the soul. That means you got to show up. That means you got to do the work. If you don't show up, You don't do the work, you don't believe it could happen to you. If you believed it could happen to you, you would show up and say, why am I doing this to change? Imagine that. No brain tumor any longer. I talked to him in Orlando. He had difficulty speaking. He wasn't totally clear in his mind. He had some neurological things that he was battling, and he didn't look anything like this. He's a completely different person.
And then, so that was Orlando, fantastic experience. And then scans started shrinking. And I had my best friend, I think this is a very good moment in my story. I had my best friend who is without doubt my best friend. I've known him since I was 3, 4 perhaps. And he's very scientifical, he really is. He helped me with a lot of things, pointing me to fastings, these pills, those pills. He sat me down in a coffee shop, my favorite coffee shop. And it was like, are you sure this tumor isn't affecting your decision making? And I sat there and I was like, I really appreciate, I got in my heart, sorry. And I said, I really appreciate you saying that. That's a great question. Because I'm me. Obviously, I'm going to think it's not affecting me because I'm me. And my response was, well, my dad does it. And my dad knows. Because at this point, I was not going back on chemo and he wasn't, him and everyone was like, are you sure? And I was like, I know now. I know what the truth is. And then, so after that, it was a case of scan shrinking after scan shrinking. It just kept falling off. And this is just doing work myself, a meditation, 2 meditations a day. Easy work, I think. It's just beautiful. And then, 2 weeks ago, I don't know what the date is, maybe 3 weeks ago now, got the all clear. There's only scar tissue left, and that will be gone in the next scan. I know it.
Would you call that the living example of truth? When he lays down for his coherence healing, he's in the river. He's got to get beyond this doubt every day. He's got to get beyond those yucky feelings. He's got to get beyond the fear that it's 5 months and most people only make it to 5 months. He's got to get beyond everybody telling him to get back on the chemo. There's a whole lot of environmental pressure that's causing him to default in disbelief. He's in the river, man. He's changing. He's doing the work he lays down for the coherence healing. He's ripe. He's ripe for that energy. There is a little bit of chaotic energy that can be reorganized. Gets to have the healing across the board because he's doing the work. He didn't say, well, coherence healing didn't work. That was just another experience, another event that took place in his life that kept him doing the work and continued doing the work until he finally changed. Did you hear what he said? He said, I would have never changed if I didn't have this disease. Did you hear that? He said, I really realized that this was what I needed to change. He's not victimized by his disease. He's not a victim to his disease. The disease exists in the victim. He's not that person. He's someone else now. He's not identifying with that any longer. He can't even remember the name. It's not his story any longer. He's got a whole new story.